this off? Oh
I was
gosh,
supposed to be the host.
Bradford's hosting.
I was supposed to be the.
There we go.
there we go.
We gotta move everybody around.
Are we doing a count? Are we doing the countdown and all that kind of stuff, or is this the banter before the countdown?
This
What do we
is
do?
what the heck are we doing before the countdown?
I forgot what to do.
Oh, what it
Is this the what is it the esports what if, like Marvel what if? Have y'all seen that?
Yes.
I saw
I've only
two
seen like one.
parts.
I've only seen one, so don't spoil it.
I'm caught up.
I'm not caught up. I need to get caught up.
What if Thor was a fat guy? Oh, we know what happens there. All right.
Countdown.
All right. As me and my daughter say every time we wake up in the morning, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Where's the welcome back Carter music? Welcome back.
I feel like we need a song.
Yes.
Give me a
Yes. Oh, he's gonna add it in there. Oh, wait, are we allowed to do that in Twitch?
No,
Don't
no,
do it.
you're not.
I get there
No.
to play like 3 seconds of it.
No.
So like the first two notes. Oh, so well, everybody, how is everybody? First off, I need to ask that first because we are all back on stream on a webcam. How is everyone? Before I introduce everybody, how are you? See, that's lies. The lies you tell.
No, I'm really good. I swear.
I'm tired, but I'm good. This is the first day I've been good since Saturday, so I'm like stellar today.
Oh yeah. Oh
Well,
yeah.
let's pump this
Fine.
up.
Oh yeah, we're gonna pump it up. So, I guess I will say all of my doodad stuff last. But welcome to Esports EDU. We're back. It's Wednesday. It is not Thursday, and we'll talk about all that information later. So don't freak out because we're not doing the second episode tomorrow. That's team too much. This is new time, new night.
Who
So
dis?
we'll talk about. Did you say who dis?
Yeah.
Oh wow! So I am Bradford Tech Ticker on Twitter, and my titles now have shrunk, but I will talk about that later. So I'm gonna move on to the person that is on my what is that? My right, my left. I still don't know that anymore.
You're right.
My right.
I'm Carrie. I am the Chalk Moju on Twitter. I'm the communications specialist for Snowbright Studios and the editor for K-12 Esports News.
And next to Miss Carrie, we have.
Hello, Angelique Gianas. I am an English teacher at a high school in San Diego. I also run our esports program. And I am still helping out NASIF with their fellows program. However, I'm no longer a fellow and I'm no longer a mentor. We are now community leaders is what we're calling ourselves.
She's grown.
I've grown. She's grown over the last couple years. I'm excited to be back.
She's a grown woman. And we have below
Howdy, everybody. I
Miss
am
Carnage.
AJ. Yes, AJ slash hashtag Carnage. Yeah, I am in a different role since the last time I saw any of you lovely folk. I am now the Director of Membership Sales and Services at NACE. Thank you. Thank you. Still the vice chair of the Kansas City Esports Coalition as well. So yeah, over the past month since we've kind of been on our little summer break for our chat, things have gotten a little different for me. So I'm excited to see where the academic year takes us.
All right, and we have diagonally to the right. I can't point, but you get it. The guy in the suit, the only one in the suit.
I just got home, man.
Kinda cut.
It's very
Kinda
fancy. I didn't get the memo.
No.
I'm James O'Hagan. I am still the Director of Digital and Virtual Learning for the Racine Unified School District and still the host of the Academy of Esports podcast. And I am happy to say that this will be the last, well, not happy, but
get out.
Wow.
Esports EDU is all over my channel no more. Next week, it will be moving to its own separate channel. So it will just be Academy of Esports content here on out.
He's kicked us out. We
Yeah.
have
The
some
rent got too high for you all.
We gotta go.
It's too much. There'll be a Lifetime movie in the next couple months.
What really happens behind the scenes?
Okay. Ooh, Lord, do they want to know? And then, she shook her head. Last but not least, we have my best friend.
I'm Danielle Johnson. I am a middle school teacher in Dallas, Texas, and I'm also the executive director for the Texas Scholastic Esports Federation.
Yay! And so
that hasn't changed.
That has not changed. So I'm going to say my stuff. My title has now changed. I am no longer in a district, ladies and gentlemen. I am with SHI. In fact, my friend just texted me just now. He said, I'm so excited to see you. I am what you call an education strategist. So I cover all of the West Coast of the United States and Central. Everything that I have done is that you know me for in this group and beyond with the district. I'm now covering the West Coast as far as esports and digital learning. Y'all sitting there kikiing and ha.
Laughing at Danielle.
Yeah.
Being snarky.
She is being snarky. No, but I'm also still the director. I have not left Texas, so people don't forget I have not left Texas. I'm still there, still kicking it with Danielle. But I have also grown. I'm a grown man, Angelique, because I'm a mentor now.
Oh,
He's grown now. He's grown.
mentoring.
He's mentoring. So I'm still with the NASIF crew. So I'm super excited to still do all the esports work for the whole entire country. So, and Miss the person who James kicked off, which I'm mad at you, James, for doing that. But Miss
Why am I getting bus tossed like right before the show? I just hey, why are you wearing a suit? Because some of us didn't sell out.
Wow. Well, let me tell you, it look, Loki, I'm living my glorious purpose. Okay. Okay.
Living the dream.
I'm living the dream. No, well, we didn't want to be too knee deep and heavy because we're always knee deep and heavy in things. This is a welcome back, and I'm looking at the Twitter, and Miss Sam Anton is in the back answering everybody's what is it? This is not Twitter. This is Twitch, right? We're on Twitch, answering everybody's questions and whatnot. But the topic is, what does your back to school look like right now? How is it going? This is after Labor Day. Is your life right? Are you still online? Are you doing Zoom calls? Are you on Google Meet? Has anything changed? How are you socially and emotionally? That's why I asked, how is everybody? Because that's the most important thing. Before we start getting knee deep into assignments, professional development, this show, how are you? Where are you at right now? What does your school year look like? So anybody can take this.
It's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
Well, here in Texas, we are in week 5 of being back to school. So week kind of 7 of, being back with everybody. The first few weeks, we were wearing masks on odd numbered days and not on even numbered days, as the law changed every single day for a good 2 weeks in Texas. Bradford knows he's not that far out.
But look,
state law changed every day for 2 weeks.
I'm asking questions now because the look that James and Carrie made like this, I'm going,
Yeah, the law changed every 2 weeks.
Okay.
We have more COVID cases so far this year than we had all last school year.
Oh.
And we are very diligent about masks at our school, and hand sanitizer. But it is just, it spreads when you have that many kids. And But I am home quarantined not because I have it or I've even been exposed, but because my allergies look too much like COVID. So I have to get a PCR test, which takes 3 days.
oh wow.
They're like, my nurse does not play at all.
Well,
We-
I've
Star
been,
Fox.
He-Man Star Fox. It's one of my early interviews. CJ Campbell down in Rockford, Illinois. Thank you for checking in and being on here tonight. Much appreciated. Our school year has mine is all virtual, so we went from So we've gone from about 100 students, give or take, to now we're over 450, and that was basically through all of August for the most part. So as you can imagine, staffing has been a little difficult right now. I actually have 2 elementary teachers who are handling 180 elementary students because we're dealing with staffing. I've got one person handling about 90 IEPs right now while we, again, try to get staffing. So we're making it work. I can tell that the strain is there. I'm going to owe these people a lot of lunches and breakfasts to keep it all together. But as far as esports goes, we haven't even gotten into the football season here, and we already had 2 teams that had to cancel games because of COVID outbreaks. And I'm very concerned about as we move into we still have the okay to go to Not Your Parents' Basement this fall, but we've done some really good things, I think, as far as setting up seating so it's very spread out down there. But I don't know how. I honestly. It's like a ticking time bomb. I don't know how we pull that off. I just don't. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah, we're kind of in the same boat as Danielle. We've been back. This is week 6. So we just finished week 5 of being back, and we've been fully masked, 100% in the classroom. I have the biggest classes I have ever had since I started teaching, which is kind of ironic. And it's crazy. Lots of COVID cases, kids quarantining in and out every 5 seconds. I've probably had, I don't know, in just my classes out of my 90 students, I would probably say that I've had like 10, 15 test positive since the first week of school, and way more get quarantined. So we're not online at all, so we're trying to figure out, and I'm sure that's where a lot of teachers are, trying to balance the students that are in person, the students that are quarantined, getting them caught up when they're gone for 14 days and in and out all the time. So it's been a lot. I think. I cannot believe it's only week 6. It feels like I should be at like March or May.
Wow.
That's what I'm
Oh my
hearing
gosh.
from teachers, is just how exhausted they already are.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are only a couple weeks in. It's really weird. Like, from the parent perspective, being that I'm not in a classroom, coming off of last year, even when they came back on campus last year, only half the kids were on campus at any given point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And this year it's, nope, everyone is on campus. They're doing, full schedules, they're full classes. It's really weird. It's really different. Concession stands are back open during sporting events. Cheer squads are back. It's like no restrictions on entrance to any of the sporting events. Like, everything's still very normal. And the area that we're in is doing really well with COVID numbers. We're still really high, for where we've been even last year. But it's interesting. Like I wonder how bad it would have to get for California schools to actually implement any of the changes that they implemented previously. I just don't see it. I don't
You
see it
can't have
happening.
a recall going on.
Yeah. We're not going back to virtual.
No, I don't think we are. And it's because we're in the red tier. If we'd gone back to the tier system, we are absolutely where we triggered a lockdown last year and triggered kids being out of school last year. We're there right now, numbers wise, but we're just sort of got our fingers in our ears and we're humming through it. So
AJ, what about the collegiate circuit? Like, what have you been hearing? What's been going on?
So I do know that there was definitely a large amount of universities that were completely online all of last year that have really kickstarted bringing students back into the classroom, back on for practices and competition. I haven't heard of any universities yet that have kind of reverted back to the online format. I have heard that there are some that are kind of, at least for esports programs, they may be staggering the amount of time that they're in the facility and maybe allowing some of the practices to be done from home, still requiring them to come into campus for competition. But to my knowledge, I haven't heard of a single college that has gone full remote at this point in time.
Yeah, and I know anybody that I've talked to, I don't really say a remote plan or at home learning plan. I just tell them, do you have that hybrid approach? Do you have that virtual learning approach? And I will tell you, I applaud James's effort because he showed me the work. And I'm going to tell y'all, I mean, it's not rocket science. When he showed it to me, I nearly fell out of this chair. I mean, not that I didn't know how to do it, but it's like when he showed it to me, he's like, Bradford, it's like this. And I'm going, I showed a friend of mine and she nearly called me and fell out and going, it's really not this hard. And also from my end, I mean, I'm not going to tell you the people who I talk to, but we know that there's funding out there for everything. Let's be clear. I mean, it's funding coming out the wazoo. Don't even know where this money has come from, but you know, ESSER, all that kind of stuff. It's funding everywhere.
Yeah.
And I know what James has done, and I don't know where you got your funding from. I'm not questioning where you got your funding from, but I'm local. He's being smart about what he's doing. And the one thing that he told me via text was, hey, I know that this is not for everybody. This is not, hey, everybody, we're going to go virtual. All my kids in Racine Unified are going to go virtual. He understands that this is not for everybody, but here is the option. Down to the survey, I was like, James O'Hagan, this is what this is. If you want to go here, do X. And this may not be right for you, but we're going to try it. If you don't like it, then hey, go over here. And I think that's what people need to look at is don't run away. I think people, in my opinion, are running away from the tech saying, hey, you see, we told you the tech didn't work. The tech didn't work. The tech didn't work.
It doesn't fit the education narrative. Like, it doesn't. I mean, we've heard that over and over and over again as everybody panicked, you know, when everyone was not in classrooms. Like, well, learning isn't happening. Like, well, learning should be happening. And if it isn't happening, then you got to look at how you're delivering your curriculum, how you're structuring your curriculum, how you've prepared your teachers. Because I know, like, taking that jump online, really not that big of a deal. I ran my class. I had 3 grades in my classroom. We were all there, but everybody's curriculum was handled digitally all through Google. Like, it going home would have been like, okay, yeah, now we're all in the same room, but we're still doing the education a very similar way. Like, but there was just this, even in schools where the learning was happening and there was evidence that it was happening, you'd get the kickback from families, you get the kickback from press, you get the kickback from administration. Like, it just doesn't fit the narrative of what school is. If kids aren't in desks and they aren't, you know, sat in these little groups learning in a very specific way, does it count? Like, yeah, it counts. But it's unfortunate because people should be absolutely investing in in digital options for their districts.
What I will say about our program, and where I think a lot of people get it wrong. First of all, the easiest thing for us is the curriculum. It really is. For us, our curriculum comes from Florida Virtual. We didn't write, several hundred classes of work. No, we bought the curriculum, and we have the rights to edit, change, modify the work. It's a lot of it is around mindset. Now, I think a lot of the kids in remote really fell down was with, again, they weren't intending to be remote. They weren't intending to learn that way. When kids come to the virtual program, they are looking for a different option. And Carrie, what you said about a place, that mindset still is pervasive, where if it's not in these four walls, then how can learning possibly happen? I'm still stunned at people who are going to conferences again. Okay, they're going back, and they're flocking again to the here's everything you wanted to know about Office 365, but we're afraid to ask. And I'm like really? We're going to pull out this shtick as a spotlight. I'm not going to tell you which conference, but as a spotlight speaker, this person's talking about Office 365. Like, here's tips and tricks. Tips and tricks don't solve real world problems. Yep. Tips and tricks don't solve the digital divide. Tips and tricks don't solve social emotional issues. Okay? If you're going to these conferences and you're still flocking to these, like, here's how you use Google, or here's how you use, look, you can get all that online. You could pretty much put in a YouTube video and find a training on that now. I should hope that the money and time that we're spending to do these things, I hope people learn from the pandemic and realize, damn, we have to prepare in totally different ways. Mm-hmm. Because as we've seen, even though we're all vaxxed, the threat is still there that we could shut down. Yeah. What are people going to do now the second time around, or the third time around? Are they just going to still throw up their hands and go, well, I don't know how to do this anymore. I can't do this. Well, no, you have to either adapt, evolve, or unfortunately get out.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't adapt and evolve. I remember when the next generation science standards were coming out. And, as somebody who taught 3 different years of science in one classroom, I would go to PDs and people would be on the verge of writing, and because they had to learn 2 other subjects that were attached to their subject. But like, I only do biology. Like, I only do life science. I don't do physical science. I don't do earth sciences. And it's like, all of a sudden NGSS was horrible because it was going to make them learn 2 other sets of their science standards. And they, like, for 3 years of prep, it was just nope. Like, unfortunately, education isn't filled with really flexible people. And change is scary. And now, whether that is because we're not given the proper support from admin, so the trainings that you're going to aren't useful, so the preparation isn't beneficial, and you're not given the right supplies to be able to do your standards justice. Like, there are a lot of things that could not be like, you're just bad teachers. Like, there's a system that's failing teachers that makes them cling to the thing they know. And I think that's something that really needs to be looked at, because, when we're looking at, how do we make our schools more fluid and adaptable for what I think we can now assume is a new way that we're going to go about living. Even if COVID does pedal out over the next year or 2 years, this is the first of what is most likely going to be reoccurring situations. As we have this global society, we're going to start having more cases like this.
Yeah.
And we need to be able, like, the education system needs to adapt to be able to handle it, because this isn't, there isn't going back to the old normal, I don't think.
Oh, there is. And you're seeing it every day.
No, I know, but there shouldn't be. We shouldn't be doing it.
But here's the thing. So yes, there's people who are still pushing for that. But as I'm facing a staffing crisis, as I'm sure a lot of schools are right now, because I know there's a lot of teachers who said, I'm not doing this anymore, and they got out.
Yeah.
The mindset of a bounded wall not only limits what your kids can do, but also the staff you can hire. Like, for example, we have a real serious issue with diversity on our teaching staff. However, I have plenty of people who I reached out to outside the state of Wisconsin for my virtual program, and in discussion with other community people as well to talk about this and introduce this idea, not just doing it willy-nilly, but finding qualified people who represent the diversity that we want to have in our schools. And why would I make them come into a building in a virtual program? Why would I? What did we learn in this time? Did we learn nothing if we're just going to say, let's go back to normal? But that's not saying let's take everything and do it all. Let's take what worked. Let's analyze what worked. And let's, again, as my friend Ken Shelton says, we need to audit the whole system.
Yeah.
Again, the tips and tricks are not doing it. We have to audit everything and find out what really works and what doesn't and modernize. And the political will is not there. It just isn't.
Yeah, I agree. Shifting that to esports, I'm going to actually talk about this with Danielle, because I think we're in year 2, right? We're in year 2. Let's call it year 2. I think we have a slight we had a slight advantage because we walked into it in COVID. So we did esports in the virtual space. I think, which is why I was so adamant about how are you going to do this virtually? How are you going to do this virtually? And you and I were honest, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know. We're just going to throw something on the wall and hope that it sticks. We want people in this space. So why do you think that in esports, why do you think that this could be so successful in the virtual space?
Are you asking me specifically?
Yeah. Since we literally walked into
did.
it virtually.
It's completely natural for it to be virtual. I mean, we absolutely want it in schools because we want all kids to have the same access to equipment, but the kids are already playing games at home. So all we did was kind of formalize it into a league, So, and it also works because you don't have to travel. You don't have to have stands full of people in order to watch it. And so this is something that kids can do from where they are. Parents can watch from where they are. We don't have to budget for travel or, like I said, or interact with, groups of people who may be as diligent or less diligent than we are about, our health and safety. So it makes it a safe environment. And this is how, because we could do it virtually, my 6th graders met each other last year. So coming from a bunch of different elementary schools and, half the kids are at home, but you know what? Like, they knew each other. So first day of 7th grade this year, they knew who each other were. It was kind of cool. So, I mean, like, this is something that naturally has a pivot to virtual. And you're right. I'm so glad that we had to start it like this, because I don't think we would have been as successful if we didn't run it virtually last year.
Wow. Yeah. I think we're prepared, and I think we kind of know, okay, here's where we went wrong, here's what we did right, and here's what we know for sure we can do in the face-to-face part. But when it's time to shift, or when we know, hey, we can also do this in this space, we can cater to both. I know when I talk to teachers and administrators, like I said, we can provide whatever model that you want, including a virtual space. So even Angelique and AJ, what was the virtual space like for you when it came to just your regular content and esports?
I mean, I think I thrived in the virtual space, both as a teacher and with my gaming club too. I think I was blessed to be a pretty techie person pre-COVID. So, and also I had experience streaming. So transferring over to Zoom and all of that is easy for me. And I think it honestly made my teaching better. I might have been a better teacher then than I am right now, as I'm dealing with the absences and I'm dealing with the stress and the knowledge of being exposed to COVID every single day. And all of that is a lot. And I have my students, so we went back as normal, and all of our clubs went back to normal, which for me, my gaming club has on average 60 kids in the room. So COVID wise, that was not okay in my book. And they're all sharing Joy-Cons. We're all sharing, controllers. And they're switching different stations, and it's just chaos, which is great pre-COVID, but with COVID, it's like a nightmare. So, sorry, my needy cat is Navi's here. But now my students are asking me, like, can we go back online? We really liked it when we were in Discord. We loved being in our Minecraft server together, and we can't do that when we're on campus.
Yeah.
And because we don't have PCs. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see, like, they kind of have seen both sides of it. They want to do both. They're like, can we do a day in person where we're just playing like Smash together? And then can we also do a day where we're meeting online and playing Jackbox and playing on our Minecraft server? So I think the kids enjoyed it a lot too, because they are home and they're hanging out. And I think, there's opportunities in both spaces for sure.
AJ, what about for you?
Yeah, so last year, the entirety of last year, we had practices in person. The majority of the classes that they did attend were online. There was a handful of in person, especially when they had like biology labs that really kind of have to be done in person. So a lot of the esports program sort of went back to normal last year. We did the masks, we did the 6 feet apart. We had a very diligent cleaning schedule, I would say. But I think it was definitely harder for some of the students kind of coming into, especially for the first time freshmen. Not only is like their first introduction into college as just a college student, but add a layer of COVID on top of it, and there were so many of them that just had really a hard time trying to grasp the concept of a college student in a COVID world and being an esports player all at the same time. So it was definitely a juggling act. There was definitely some pitfalls, and there were some lessons learned. I tried my best to really stay in tune with how they were doing mentally, how they were doing with their classes. I tried to have more check-ins with them, even if it was just casual. They walk into my office and I'm like, hey, how was class today? I remember you had a test. How did it go? So there was a bit more. I think my job last year as an esports coach was a bit more hands-on in the sense of being a person outside of actually being like their coach. Outside of that, it was almost more of a person role, needing to check in on how you're doing, how you're feeling. And, I think for moving forward for the fall semester, for NACE competition, we've already, we're looking very strongly at we had planned in-person finals and all of this really cool stuff. That likely is going to get the axe, and a lot of our finals are going to continue to live virtually. All of our regular season is continue to remain virtual as of the fall semester. I think NACE as an organization has given a lot of guidance and feedback to the membership, like letting them know it's okay if your kids can't come to campus to compete. It's okay if they don't feel comfortable coming to campus to compete. They can still be a student athlete, and they still can do it from home. So giving the schools and the students the option of being able to participate virtually is something that we're still going to be doing probably this entire academic year.
What you said, AJ, about basically what you were doing, and this is something I think maybe is missed in some collegiate or even high school programs or middle school programs, where they hire the person who's the best gamer. They don't necessarily hire the best coach.
Yeah.
Again, I keep
imagine if we did that in other sports.
Well, the perfect example is Ted Lasso. The worst. The old adage was the worst baseball players make the best managers, because they have to take in so much of the game in order to get to play that they have to study everything. In the Ted Lasso situation, why I think it is so important that we have quality educators who, again, are not afraid to be vulnerable in this space, but are willing to take chances and flip the script on having the experts be the kids and they be the, again, general managers, making sure that everybody is taken care of. I think that's key. Even in our own virtual program, one of the key roles that we have is, sorry, my cats now are doing stuff.
I had to kick her out.
One of the key roles in our program, it's speaking exactly what AJ is talking about, is mentorship. Not a teaching teacher. Somebody who just checks in with the kid and the family to say, how's everything going? And imagine if we could do that in our schools.
Yeah.
We have social workers, but usually they're handling the fires, right? And sometimes they can only, there's one social worker for 1,000 kids.
We have a new thing in Texas that I'm seeing on so many job boards. It's called a wraparound service specialist. And that's their job, exactly what you just said.
Well, the research is there. The research was done by Dr. Sugata Mitra when he talked about the school in the cloud, and he did you can look up the whole YouTube video about this, and because he replicated this study in England, but he used a computer in the wall in the slums of India, and the kids taught themselves biotechnology. They taught themselves English first, and then they taught themselves biotechnology, and then he tested them, and they hit a certain threshold. But he found by including mentorship, and he called it the granny cloud because he used Indian grandmothers as you can be smart and know what's going on, but have the child actually talk about what it is. Don't just say, oh, I see your grades are this, why is it? But say, hey, what's going on in your social studies class? Or what thing is really engaging you right now? And also, too, part of the success that we can have in this is let's incorporate play into some of this. Some of the best meetings I had with some kids who normally wouldn't open up was saying, well, let's play Stardew Valley, or let's play a game of Among Us, or let's play, something, Exploding Kittens. If you haven't played Exploding Kittens, it's one of my favorite. So there's the things that I think people are so afraid of are things that we're already doing. It's just it's not in the environment that they're used to, I think, is where maybe their pitfalls are. Or again, they're used to the Catholic school model, and they just want you to have 60 kids in a room and just have them sit there quietly with their hands crossed and not say anything while you talk. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and I agree with all that. My biggest thing before I left, it really bothered me, and it still does, is we're 100% focused on the students, and I get that, and I understand that. However, I need someone, and that's why I said what I said in the beginning when I asked, how are all of you doing? Because I feel like nobody is checking in on the educator on a daily basis. Y'all said it earlier in the beginning, like there are teachers that said, peace, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. I quit. I'm done. And we get that there's teacher vacancies. We can't control that. But I'm always wondering, we're always having to check on the kids and on the families. But you know what? When you're finding they're playing and the mask comes down, you got to put on that mask first. And then you check on somebody else, So I'm like, let me check check me first. And then I'm going to check on on my other people as well. And then others can check on somebody else. That was my biggest problem, is we're always coming up with these grandiose plans of make sure this child is okay, make sure those parents are okay. And I think that's great. But we're all in this career. This is our career. This is our job. Who is coming in to check on Danielle to make sure that Danielle is okay? Who is coming in to check in on Angelique to make sure that Angelique is okay? And something may be going on with Angelique that, you know what? I just can't do this right now. Okay, hold on. Let me pull Angelique out and talk to her for just 2 minutes. Maybe Angelique, all she needed was 2 minutes. And that 2 minutes could have just saved her entire life. But nobody, I'm saying this as flat, I'm sure somebody is, but nobody is checking in on us to make sure that we are okay.
Mm-hmm. Because they know we're not. I mean, they know they're not.
What is the plan? So what is the plan?
There isn't one. Like, the longevity of the educator doesn't matter. We learned that when COVID hit.
We're replaceable at work.
Yeah, we've seen that so many times. The educator isn't the one that matters. Like, the fact that we have a culture that is built upon the grind, that values educational martyrdom, that promotes this. You're muted.
That's the word. Yeah, you hit it right there. That educate. As Bradford has found out, that educational martyrdom stuff is. Sorry, Carrie. I was just applauding you because Bradford now sees just how bad that thing is.
No one cares. No one cares. So no one's asking. They know it doesn't matter. I wish it would. People ask me all the time, "Are you going to go back into education?" It's like kind of a hard no. Like I have experience now working in an industry where I matter. I have value as a human being.
I'm gonna piggyback that on Carrie. Now I'm not trying to poo-poo on where I work because I'm not far from it. But on the other side, I have people. I will tell you, and I know some of them are listening. That day 1, day 2, day 3, it was very eye-opening. The welcoming that I received, the hey, how are you doing? Hey, what can I get you? Hey, you know what? Don't worry about this. We got this part covered. Or hey, Danielle's position does that. Hey, James' position does that. Carrie's position does that. I was never used. I was the one, and y'all know all this in this room, where we all did everything, and then we would come home. It's 8 o'clock my time, Danielle's time, and we're just exhausted. James, you said it earlier, like, oh my God, I had to do X, Y, Z, because we're tired because we had to do everybody's stuff. But as Carrie said, the minute you go over to this side, and it's not perfect, I'm not saying saying it, but when somebody says, Bradford, we got you, we're gonna lift you up. There is a team behind you that's going to do this. We just want to make sure that you do your job. That takes a weight off of you so much that you can get so much other work done, and that there's trust, and that, hey, Carrie, you're the professional. I know what your job is. I know what you're going to get done. If you don't get it done, we know why you didn't get it done. Well, those are the things that I appreciate.
The value of health. Like when I was teaching, it was first, it started off the year with how many of your days are you going to give to the bank? So the limited sick days we had, it wasn't are you going to, it was how many are you going to give to the health bank? And I'm like, I've got an autoimmune disorder. You're not getting any of mine because I'm going to blow through mine in a heartbeat, and I'm going to be paying for subs the entirety of my year, pretty much. Like, I know that. So I'd be like, none. If you were sick, you would get admin. It was like, well, we need 7 days of lesson plans. And do you know how disruptive this is going to be for student learning? Have you thought about what you're doing to your students right now? It's like, wow, okay. And it wasn't just me, because I know every other teacher on my hallway heard the exact same thing. And these were people that didn't have an autoimmune disorder, who didn't deal with chronic illness or chronic pain issues. These were totally healthy people who gave away half of their sick days. And they would be like, well, I'm sick, I've got a fever, but it's just not worth taking the time off because you know how that looks. Versus where I work now, where it's like, I'm happy to be at work, I'm functional, I'm not well, but I'm good enough to work. And it's like, you should probably take some time off to make sure that you're okay. It's like, no, actually, I'm all right with the situation that I'm in. But just the difference between acknowledging like emotional and physical wellness in your employees and valuing their health and safety versus, I think, what a lot of us either have experienced in education or are experiencing in education, where that value isn't there. Like, in fact, you can be shamed and or guilted for doing things that make you well.
Well, what I will say is part of why my program, even though just up the road you have Milwaukee Public Schools, which is getting killed in the press today for their virtual program. And, we're very worried, of course, about people who because we are so short-staffed, maybe their kids aren't getting the service that we're used to providing. But what I will say is that my program isn't new. It was there before I came there. We've grown it. But what's important to realize is that me as an administrator, as a director, I've built relationships with my team. I've built my team purposefully. It's not just pulling bodies in and saying, here's a warm body, let's fill the spot. It is who's going to best fit into this environment and who if this was our first year doing this, we would be absolutely getting murdered. There would be people lined up out the door screaming and yelling. But again, we know the systems. We know how to make this work. We are practiced in this. We've got a pool of teachers that, even though we can't use dedicated staff right now as much as we want to, we're using our teacher pool to help get us through. It can't just fall. The martyrdom thing doesn't just fall on the teacher. It falls on a lack of leadership, and it falls on a lack of support. So let's make sure that we lift up those administrators who are in these hard times, meeting teachers where not just students, but meeting teachers where they are. And those are the ones that I think, rather than focusing on all this, because I'll tell you, while my world may sound like rainbows, like my hat, rainbows, it is not all rainbows. There is people who push on me, but I also welcome them to come. One of my teachers came into me and I said, look, if I'm doing something wrong, yell at me. Let me know, because sometimes I don't hear it. Sometimes I don't feel it. I need to see the emotion. I need to see the seriousness. And that comes from trust. And I'm not, as some of you may know, I'm not always the nicest person. I can get a little salty and fuzzy, but a little rough, scruffy. But it is that's my job. My job is to make their lives easier. That my job is not to tell them how to do everything. I mean, I'm going to give them the tips, but a lot of time, I just hired a music teacher. I can't wait for her to start, but unfortunately she's held at another billing. And she said, what do you want me to do? I said, I have seen what you do. I want you to take it to like this level. And I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but I said, I've seen what you do and I want you to take it to an 11. And she got the reference right away, which is great too. So that helped.
And that's good too, because
somebody in the chat can say, if I turned it to 11, please, somebody in the chat. What movie is that from?
Because James, too, even administrators, and we do talk about teachers, but there are actually excellent administrators out there too. They're also getting hammered on, that are getting stressed because they're only being told by someone above them that, hey, you got to do this. So then it trickles down, and so then the administrators feel like the bad guy too, and it's just a vicious cycle. Because I do know some excellent administrators that they're doing what they're told, and it's very hard, and they're trying to, make the campus work, but somebody above them is saying, you have to do X, Y, Z, and they're out to be the bad guy too. So this whole entire thing is a lot going on. We just all have to really just check in on each other. And when we really say, how are you doing? We sometimes really need to mean it. How are you doing?
Yeah.
What is going on?
You need to be open for the answer to not be great.
Well, I walked into my secretary's office. Normally she sits on the desk, but since COVID, we moved her into an office. And I just took one look at her and I could tell she was about in the verge of tears. And it was suggested to me today to get some one-on-one time with her. I walked in. So I did. I walked in and I said, hey, let's take a break for a few minutes and let's just go chat. And it wasn't so much just to say, tell me what's wrong. It was for me as the administrator to remind her, like, hey, we are absolutely swamped. And I said, I love the job that you're doing. If you are having the worst day, you are still far superior than to anybody else who I've worked with. You're the person who I want to make sure the most is taken care of in this whole group, because she's the one who catches the bullets and the brunt of things every day from parents who are just like questions and need answers, are upset. It's taking care of each other. We are so, everything right now is like, well, I'm going to wear a mask. Well, I'm not going to wear a mask. It's like, no. Let's take care of each other for a little bit. Just think about others for a second. And sometimes, because we are so caught up in our work, because our work is so personal, it is really hard to sometimes see the people around us and see what's happening to them, because we are so sometimes. I've been so tunnel vision. I'll admit, I need that kick to say, like, hey, what about this? Yeah. So this isn't just for teachers. This is for our students as well. This is for our administrators, our board members. God, our school board members right now. Would you want to be a school board member right now? I wouldn't want to be a school board member right now. I mean, my God, they're catching it in all directions.
They're even
Ours.
getting letters from our lieutenant governor. Dan Patrick has a hit list.
Oh my gosh, that I did not know.
Not
Well,
literally.
it's not so much a hit list, but like a list of all the school districts that are violating the mask mandate ban, and he has sent them letters.
God. Well, that killed the conversation.
Ridiculous.
Everybody, no, not the hit man. Let's take care of each other. Yep. All right, James is nuts.
It's good timing though,
I wouldn't
because we
wanna be
got
a school
10
board,
minutes and we have had big changes with the chat. If anybody's been here from the beginning, this chat started years ago on Twitter, and it ran on Twitter for years. Steve Isaacs ran it. I ended up taking it over, and then when COVID happened, who am I gonna go beat over the head with a stick to help? With James, and dragged him
We
into
all go to.
right.
We all go to
I'm
James.
frustrated. I need help. And it became, the chat that you know and love, which has been very graciously hosted on the Academy of Esports Twitch channel for a year. But during the break, we decided it was time to make some adjustments and put our big pants on. I don't know. Grow up. Our bigger pants. Grow up. It's because of COVID. Let's face it. We need those bigger pants, bigger waistlines. I do. Anyways, I don't know. Maybe it's...
I'm buying my suit jackets now at Goodwill for $5 because
I'm working on trimming everything back down, but we'll see. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. We have made some upgrades, so you are here with us tonight, but next week you won't be here. You'll be on one of our other channels, which we should have our LinkedIn link tree. We have our Linktree link. I don't have our Linktree link.
I've got it.
Okay, somebody has it. But you can still watch us. We have a Twitch channel. We have a YouTube channel. We have our own shiny little Twitter account. So you might have seen us posting on that for the last couple days, trying to get the word out and get everybody used to the fact that there's another place to find our chat. And our content will be hosted on our own channels starting next week. We wanted everybody to come where they're familiar, and then we'll make everybody scramble for the new classroom next week. And obviously, new day and time.
The new classroom.
Yeah, beginning of the year, you're like, I got my map. I don't know where I'm going.
You're getting your schedule changed.
Yeah.
I just know though that I'm used to the flow of the week, and having it today, I feel like tomorrow should be Friday, but it's only Thursday.
I know. It's
and this week's already feeling long enough.
But you know what's good about this? It's a reminder that it's hump day.
Yeah,
so oh my God, it's the middle of the week. I know it's the middle of the week. It's time for Esports EDU. So that's going to be really exciting. And then you can go eat after this. Have your dinner, or you can eat while you watch us, or we'll probably be eating while we're talking.
No, we're not eating on stream anymore. I will throw up.
Did somebody tell that one right there?
I mute my mic.
Oh.
Details from the behind-the-scenes documentary coming out this year.
Unless you're hypoglycemic.
Well, now that it's like a later time and not in the middle of dinner time for me, it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
The dishes will be done.
Danielle, I didn't mind. I didn't care. I'm easy.
It just made me hungry because I hadn't eaten yet, and then I'd watch Danielle eat, and I'm like, I should eat before, but it's too early.
But I'll just say this: look, if we're putting on our bigger boy pants or bigger girl pants or my what's it the masking skirt?
Y'all still wearing pants?
If we're upgrading our everything, we have to upgrade our game.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
I just feel like we have to upgrade our game. I'm not saying like everybody go change your clothes right now or anything like that, but look, if we're going to be the voice of this, I know you're in California, you're fine. You have no air conditioning. It's all good. But we really, that's why we're, even having the conversation choice rather than springing it on people like we're like the Twitter chat used to be.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that because this group, we may not feel it, But this group is some of the leading voices in this space. So I think it behooves us to be that professional voice in a sea of, oh my God, look at this other announcement, this weird thing of who is this person and why are they selling us this or trying to sell us this? That's
he's talking about somebody, just so y'all know. I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking about somebody.
No.
What he'll do, y'all, is he'll send it to me at midnight. This is what I was talking about, Bradford. This is what I was talking about when I said, "Oh my God," and now I have to respond.
But I think what
you
James
don't have to
touched upon
respond at midnight, though, right?
is like when the chat started, or at least when I was running it, I knew the topic well before Thursday rolled around. You're going to do the next few shows. Yes, so that's we've got our schedule. We're actually building out, well in advance what our topics are. That way we'll be able to post that in advance, so you have the ability to kind of come prepared, either with questions or things that you want to talk about. We have our own Twitter account, so if you want to @ us with topics that you would like to see us talk about, do that. Let us know, what you really want to hear about, and then we've got the ability now to start rotating key hosts in a little bit smoother based on the topic, as well as bringing other people in that aren't part of the key hosts on as a special guest. So we're hoping that this is really going to allow us to up our game and allow for everybody who's coming in to chat to not just be sort of hit with what our topic is. I'm sure you loved some of our chaotic where are they going now chats before, and you'll probably still see a little bit of that because we do like soapboxes, but we've got a much more streamlined schedule for coming up so that we can keep things really on track and make sure that we're covering the topics that are important to everybody.
Yeah, and I know that we talk a lot about stuff in and out of education, but I know esports, I know obviously it's always the hot topic. I know in all of our circles, I know teachers are asking, how do I get started? How do I make this equitable? How do I make sure I'm doing this? How do I get funded for this? Please put those topics out there in Twitter so we can catch those, because we're always answering those questions. So those are definitely still topics that are of interest, whether you are a newbie in esports or you've been doing this for 10 years. It's always evolving. It's always changing, and we're always trying to get better. And there are some things that we don't even know. So why are you shaking your head?
Because of this.
Because yeah, your sound effects button.
Why did we ban the sound effects?
Because we're going to be more professional.
Actually, you know what happened to the sound effects? I lost them all.
If Giannis cannot bring her microphone, I quit.
That made me laugh. Yeah. So I was actually gonna put in some video clips, and I just didn't have time. And then when she showed that microphone, I nearly busted out laughing. And she did that. Here's a hack where you can put your face up to the camera and say, "Hey Siri." That was hilarious.
That was awesome.
All right. James is telling us final thoughts. We got to do final thoughts. So I'll start with James, since you already texted. What's the final thought?
All right, my final thought is, okay, I'm going to have to back up because I don't want to blow out anybody's ears. Coming to you from Rockford, Illinois, it is He-Man Star Fox! Okay. Thank you, CJ, for checking us out again. CJ Campbell, if you want to check out one of my early TAO Esports podcasts, I did a 2-part around accessibility and esports, and CJ was my guest. He has very personal relationship about accessibility and gaming and all sorts of things. So, and he's an awesome storyteller, and he's a published author as well too.
Cool. AJ?
Final thoughts. I think the biggest piece of takeaway home advice from this chat overall: check in on your friends, and really, truthfully, check in on your friends when they say, "No, I'm great. How are you?" Be like, "No. How are you feeling?" Check in on the people that you love.
And get the honest answer. Expect the honest answer.
And be okay with the honest answer. Like, as someone with like living with health conditions, people like want you to be okay when you're not. When you're okay with not being okay, like, this is my normal. It's all right. Like,
Danielle.
Also, like, you need to know who you go to when you're not okay. Like, who's
Nobody.
your person? Like, we have a rule at school, and it's don't cry alone. Like, you are not allowed to cry alone. We have specific people you go to, whether you are a student or a teacher. Like, that is just the rule. Crying alone in the bathroom is not allowed. And so I know who I go to at work when I'm not okay, or at home when I'm not okay. And, you know, have your person. If you don't have a person, find a person.
Carrie.
I need to be better. Yeah, not my strong suit. Okay, for me, learning way too much about me tonight. I guess my final thoughts for the evening is COVID has brought a lot of people to the esports table. As the editor for K12esportsnews.com, I write stories about what's being published that's relevant to esports educators, and there are a lot of programs that are pitching a lot of opportunities for people right now. Be on the lookout for organizations that are the first, the best, the only, the cutting edge, the leading. Look at credentials. Who are they connected to? How long have they been there? Watch their content. Watch how they spell the word esports. There's a lot that you can do to help vet the programs that are out there, because there are a lot of people who are new to the game. They're presenting themselves as industry experts. You're sitting with a group of people right here who have a lot of years in the industry, and if you asked any of us or called any of us industry experts, most of us would be like, we're learning. Like, we've got skill sets, we've got our wheelhouses, and we're happy to share, but we're not going to stand on a pedestal and say we're all that and a bag of chips. So definitely just be cautious, people, because there's a lot of folks out there looking for money or looking to come save your school right now, and they do not have the data-driven anything behind them to actually be able to come in there and possibly do that for you. So just be careful.
Well, ditto what everybody said, because everybody just took everything except for the He-Man Star Fox.
That
wasn't on mine, but yeah.
he just dunked on all of us.
Wow.
Yeah, if you got an AOL address, still that's a little bit of street cred. Like,
it is.
No, it's that net zero one.
I mean,
01.
Net zero.
Yeah.
Geosites.
Netscape.
I don't know. I get flack for my gamer tag still being attached to my old AOL.
No, but ditto what everybody said. But me personally, those who know me, I still haven't changed. I may, have crossover, but I'm still big on mental health. I'm still big on having a healthy lifestyle. I'm always talking about making sure that you're eating right, drinking plenty of water, do all of those things. Taking care of yourself first and foremost is important, because nobody's going to take care of you but you. So please do that. And the one thing that I have learned this year, ladies and gentlemen, is that educators, you are valued, you are respected, you are worth every penny. I don't know why Danielle's sitting there laughing. she's laughing.
See what he put?
I don't know what he put.
Do you remember when school emails were like that?
Yes.
It was so embarrassing to tell people your email address. Like, sorry, it's still going. Hold on.
Technically, those domains still work.
They do.
They do.
Oh yeah.
So, see your IT, Avon. No, no. Seriously though, you are educators. You are valued. You are worth every penny that you have. This opportunities everywhere. I'm not trying to say go out and leave K-12. You can go out to another district if you feel like there's value there. Just take care of yourself and each other.
Should I end the broadcast?
Yeah,
I guess that's
think
it.
that
Because
was your cue.
I don't know who's running it because I don't have
Me?
the power.
It's,
Me.
it's
I thought Sam was.